Yo, yo, yo. Today we're going to look at how to approach the ball in different scenarios. We're mainly going to focus on what's going to give you the best, highest chance of winning 50s and what's going to give you the kind of the fastest recoveries after you're trying to go for a 50. That's what we're going to have in mind so that you'll be a much faster player on the field, but also a much more powerful player because you're going to win a lot more 50s after watching this tutorial. So the thing is, when you're playing Rocket League, there is a lot of different scenarios, and those scenarios are based on the ball, the opponents, and you and your teammates. So there is a lot of players and the ball, and there's a lot of things going on, and therefore you need to have that in mind before choosing what kind of way you want to approach the ball. And in certain scenarios, one type of way of approaching the ball will give you a higher chance of winning the ball, while some other type of approaching the ball will actually make you lose the ball, pinch the ball, and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to look up to. So let's start. So the first thing you have is like dribbling. And dribbling is something you should do whenever you have possession over the ball. So when you have time and space and you have the ball, you should dribble. It can either be a ground dribble or a air dribble. And make sure you keep it really close to you when you're dribbling. If no one is challenging, just have the ball close to you. You don't need to jump, you don't need to flick, you don't need to flip. Don't do anything, just drive with it. And whenever you see your opponents are challenging, that's when you want to either jump, flip, flick, or take it to either left or right side, depending on how your opponents are challenging. And I will say this is the best strategy above everything else when it comes to having possession of the ball. And the reason for that is that it has the fastest recovery. That means that if the opponents win the 50-50, you'll be fast to recover back from it because you probably stay grounded. And even if you're doing an air dribble and they go for 50-50, it's very unlikely that the ball is going to end up in your net. And also the other good thing is that dribbling has the highest chance of beating opponents in either if it's like a 1v1 situation when you're playing a ranked game. Sometimes you'll end up in a 1v2, like you facing two opponents, or it can even be like you facing three opponents. If you're dribbling the ball, you're more likely to get past even three opponents, which is like the maximum in a ranked game. And the reason for that is when you're dribbling, you are staying close to the ball. So you're never giving away your position unless one of the opponents actually wins a challenge or beats a challenge. And even if they beat a challenge, since you'll be having fast recovery, you'll be so fast to even follow up. So even if they beat you in a 50-50, they might flip into the ball or something like that. But since you just stay grounded, you'll be so fast that you'll be fast enough to follow up and get position on the ball again. So by staying grounded and dribbling is the best way to have position on the ball, dribble your opponents, and even follow up even if you mess it up or they win a 50. Uh, and this is more like a high rank thing. Lower rank don't tend to dribble so much. I think they are uncomfortable with it. So we can go to the next thing that is more common for like lower ranks, and that is booming the ball. And there are rules that I follow and that you should do, and that is if you're gonna boom the ball, it should be a shot on target. If you see that you are likely to score, maybe the opponents are in a bad position, it's an open net or something like that, you should shoot on target. That's fine because when you're booming the ball, the ball is getting much more momentum and it's going to be harder for them to save. You should also boom the ball if you want to aim for the backboard, like above their goal, so that you can go for a double tap or just to like set off your opponent, make them go for an aerial and whiff the ball or something like that, so that you can follow up after the ball have hit in the backboard. And it's also like if you're going for aerials, then it's fine to like boom the ball when you're doing a touch after you've done an aerial. And there will be like some situations where booming the ball can be good. Like let's say you and your opponent is driving towards the ball and you see that you are a little bit closer than him. And if you're a little bit closer than him, you won't have time to start off with the ball. He's going to challenge you way too early. So in those kind of situations, by flipping or booming the ball to either left or right side to a safe zone where your opponent cannot challenge and your opponent will whiff, then it's totally fine to like boom the ball away. But make sure that wherever you're booming the ball is a place that you can follow it up first or your teammate. Booming the ball can also be good if you just want to pass it, if you see that your teammate is in a safe zone. So make sure it's always in a safe zone. There should not be any opponents between you and your teammate that can follow up the ball first. But if you know that you can pass it directly to your teammate without no interruptions, then feel free to boom it to him. The disadvantage is that the ball is likely to end up as a pass to the opponent, and that comes whenever you just booming the ball just to boom it, either if it's a shot on target or aiming for the backboard or going for like in high aerials, or just see the ball and you just boom it for no reason. It's more likely to end up as a pass to the opponent, and the reason why is when you boom the ball, uh, you kind of the guy who booms it, which is you, is going to be most likely the guy who is furthest away from the ball, which means that either your teammate or one of the two or three other opponents will have a quicker follow up to the ball. And it's most likely, since you are booming it towards their field, they will be standing there and they will just get the ball. So let me just show you like, so if you boom, so most likely you'll have like this is your team and here's the ball and that's their team. So when you boom this ball, it's gonna be closer wherever it doesn't matter where it goes, but one of these two people will be much closer to follow this than your teammates. So I recommend you guys stop booming the ball unless it's necessary. Then it's fine, but don't boom the ball just to boom the ball. I know a lot of low rank people does it. Booming the ball is just giving away position. It's unpredictable to do a good follow up with it unless you know what you're doing. Of course, if you're booming the ball to a safe zone, that's fine so that you can follow it up. Oh, but if not, try to go for dribbles instead of booms. Let's go further into this document, and the next thing is flipping into the ball. So flipping is like when you're having a joystick in a certain direction and pressing X twice in a row. You want to use this carefully. A lot of people, the same way they're using this strategy, like booming the ball whenever they have position. Some low rank people tend to always flip into the ball when they don't have position and are approaching the ball. That's also something you guys need to stop. But there are certain times you should do it. That's you want to flip into the ball if you want to reach the ball before your opponents. So that means if we have this ball and if this was the middle, but we see that it's a little bit closer to you. So when you are approaching the ball, you'll be like here, while your opponent will be like here. In a situation like this, it's totally fine to flip it to either left or right. And when you do that, you flip it to the opposite direction of where this guy is closest to. And what that does is that this guy will have no chance of reaching the ball. So you want to flip it in a way that this guy is kind of out of the play and reaches the ball. You never want to flip it directly to this guy. Then it's fine. You can flip into the ball. If you need to give the ball more momentum to the left or right, so it's a little bit the same. Let's say you're dribbling the ball and this guy, you see him challenging, then you can just flip it to either left or right so that he can't be able to reach the ball. And you also want to flip into the ball whenever your car is positioned too far from the ball, and flipping is the only option available. And that's like you're gonna have like sometimes you've been probably far away from the player or something like that. He's going into your net, and the only way you can reach it is actually like flipping so that you get your car much faster. And then you'll probably save it like a really weird save, but you'll probably save it if you do. If you don't flip, you are more likely to not save it. You can also use flips to like pre-flipping. Pre-flipping means that you're flipping before whatever is going to happen, either to score, save, or mess up the ball for your opponent. So if the ball is kind of driving, you can kind of like, when you're driving from diagonally, you can just flip and just take the chances of blocking the shot or messing up his ball. Uh, and yeah, when you flip, like normally your car is more horizontally, but when you're flipping, your car will end up facing down. So you'll cover more, if you understand, you'll cover more vertically. So if you kind of flip your inst instead of approaching the ball like this, you're kind of approaching the ball like this. So you're covering like more space. And it depends on the situation, but I think like if the ball don't have so much momentum, let's say it's in the corner or something, and you're really close to the ball, flipping is fine, so that you cover more and that you still keep pressure. The disadvantages is that the ball is likely to end up in an unpredictable direction, which means that if you're flipping like this at the same time that this guy is like approaching the ball will probably be pinched, or I don't know, like it will hit you on the top of your vehicle and end up in an unpredictable way. You can't see the outcome, what's going to happen. Anything can happen. And the other thing is that you'll be stuck in animation. So when you're flipping, so let's say you're flipping into this ball, and it doesn't matter. Let's say you go for a 50, you win the 50, or you lose the 50, and your car ends up like this. You'll be stuck in animation. There's no way you can just turn back. You'll flip and you'll be like stuck in animation. You have to come to the ground, and now suddenly you'll see that if you, for example, lift the ball right here, these people will be like here and you'll be like here. So you are way too far from your goal, which is here. So Flipping is kind of making you slow, and that's why I say it's the slowest recovery if you mess it up. If you win at 50, that's fine, but if you lose, but even if you win at 50, the thing is when you're flipping, you can't follow up. If you flip into the ball right now, and this guy, let's say it's a 50-50 among you two, and both of you are flipping, and the ball ends up high, you'll you two guys who flipped will be the slowest to actually follow up that ball. The reason for that is because you flip. That's one thing you should look out for when you're playing, is that if your opponent flips, the distance between you guys, if you see them like flipping on the ground, it's safe for you to go for aerials and stuff like that, because they won't be able to follow up. They can't do an aerial while they are flipping. So have that in mind. And flipping into the ball seems more likely to lose 50 actually. So like I said before, if this guy flips, or I mean you flip, and this guy just single jumps. So when you flipping, boom, what happens is that he's gonna block it. You'll be starting the animation. He's gonna block the ball, and the ball will more likely end up like this in his favor. So be very careful to using the flip, since it's not good for 50s and it's not good for recoveries. Single jumping. This is the way I approach the ball the most of the time. You should do that when your car has momentum. So let's say this guy is dribbling or whatever, and you are driving in like with momentum, then you should just jump. Because when you jump, you approach the ball kind of on the center. So either if this guy, your opponent, tries to keep the ball grounded, you'll win it. If you try to pop it a little bit up, you'll also win it. And also, like when it's a 50-50, since you just single jump, what's gonna happen is that he will kind of shoot the ball. It's gonna land to you, then probably above him. So you are more likely to win 50s here. And you should do this whenever the opponent is having position, but also when you are having position. So let's say you are the one dribbling with momentum, which means that you are driving with the ball, and you see this guy coming. You just want to keep on driving, and the moment before he approaches the ball, you want to jump. And what happens is that when he hits the ball, it's gonna hit you and then pop back up. So it's gonna be in your favor if you execute it properly every time. Uh, Another good thing when to use single jumping is when the ball has very low momentum. It can either be if your opponent is challenging or you are challenging, it doesn't matter. But sometimes, well, this happens a lot in the corners, uh, where the ball don't have so much speed. It's very like almost close to zero momentum, and you can understand that this guy is probably to shoot the ball or pop the ball or whatever. If you just single jump, he will hit the ball. He will hit the ball onto you, and you'll win the 50. And the same goes for the other way around also, which is when you are having position. What you want to do here is you want to wait. If the ball have no zero momentum, you don't need to rush it. Just wait, let him challenge. The moment he's going for it, that's the moment when you want to jump. And what will happen then is that he will kind of hit the ball onto you, and you'll win. Single jumping is also good for like pre-jumping to score. Let's say your teammate gives an assist and you just pre-jump. or you actually need to jump, it doesn't matter. But yeah, also to like save, it's fine to like jump or pre-jump, or if you need to mess up a shot from your opponent. So if you're just driving and this is really close to your net, just jump like that and get down. I use single jumping a lot when it comes to fakes. So if the ball is like this, and I know that I'm like the first approach the ball, I would just jump like that. And while I'm here, my opponent, instead of going to the ball, he will aerial like that. Then I will just go down back. And when the ball then goes back, I will have free position, and this guy will be have a slow way or a slow recovery to get back from it, since he is doing an aerial. So so you can use this even like in front of the net, like you just go like that, then jump and don't touch the ball, and the guy who's challenging will most likely just whiff the ball. And use it for low aerials, like if the ball is not above the crossbar from your net. If it's below your crossbar, you should just single jump so that you kind of save your flip. And if you need to pop the ball above the opponent, which means, let's say you're carrying the ball, then it's fine to like single jump just so that you can pop it up. The advantage of this is that this is this is a really fast recovery. When you're jumping, even if you mess it up or not, you're going to be able to like air roll and turn your car the other direction and quickly being able to rotate. So, and also it's covering, your car will cover. So by single jumping, you're covering like this. You just take ground, you're going to stay like that. So you kind of have to single jump to cover the ball and win 50s. So this is one of the most effective strategies to win 50s, at least if you have momentum, but also if you don't have momentum. Double jumping, this one is something you should be really careful with using. A lot of people use this wrong, and the reason why you should be careful with double jumping is it because it has a slow recovery. If you're single jumping, you're going to go a little bit high, then go down. If you're double jumping, it's like you have to wait all the way till your car falls down. You can of course boost to make it quicker, but then you're wasting boost. But anyways, single jumping beats double jumping because of the slow recovery. But when should you use it? It's like whenever you need to pre-jump. Let's say you're really close to the net, and this guy, you see him going for a boom, then it's fine to like double jump just to cover the net. You don't have anything else you could do in this situation. You don't have time to rotate back. So if you see that's a shot on target, that's when you should do it. If it's not a shot on target, then you don't need to double jump because that's just gonna push you out of the play. So it can either be, yeah, if there's a block from either to block, also like block a pop if you know he's gonna pop it. Sometimes people dribble it with, sometimes people dribble the ball on top of the head. Then you can like double jump to get into that height. So yeah, double jumping can be used in different ways. Like if you wanna get into the same height so that you're covering the ball and you're falling with the ball at the same speed, so that this guy or your opponent is unlikely to win in a 50, then you can also use double jump. And you should use double tap for like air dribbles from the ground, of course. From the wall, you should use single jump. So the difference is that if you're having, either if you pop it up or you have it ungrounded, if you single jump, the ball will stay a little bit mid-air, but if you double jump, the ball will go much higher, making it much easier for you to kind of do some extra touches in the air. Drag challenge, not many people know about this. This is like a high rank thing. But drag challenge is that, let's say this guy is having the ball. And what you do is that you're driving, staying grounded, and just driving like that. Or just driving like this and trying to demo this guy after, like, which means that if this guy pops the roll up, what happens is that your car will just end up directly into him, and you have demoed this guy, and your teammate will have the ball. And the other scenario that I was talking about first was that when you drive challenging, this guy sees you as a threat. He don't know you can drive challenge, so he have to like pop it up or something like that. And let's say he pops it up, and you drive challenging. And what happens is that your teammate, who is following up, of course, will have the ball. So whenever you think you're going to lose at 50, and whoever has position over the ball is more likely to win the 50. So that's why if this guy has position, you are more likely to lose the 50, which means you need to be more careful with how you approach the ball. And also if you are able to stay grounded, like the ball is grounded, then it's fine to drive challenge. You don't want to drive challenge if the ball is like air, then there's no reason for you to drive like that. So depending on where the ball is also. So the advantage is that it's a fast recovery, also like one of the fastest recovery. The only thing is that you can't you can't do drive challenge if you're a last man, then you want to fake challenge instead. So you take this guy out of the play. So if you are last man here, here is the net, you want to drive like that, but also be able to get back in time. So the reason you drive like that is because you want your opponent to shoot the ball so that you'll be able to recover from that fast enough. So you're not flipping anything, you're just driving, then getting to the ball. And you don't want to drive too close to him, but close enough that he gives away the ball. And yeah, leave the ball. That's something people also have trouble with. People think that just touching the ball is a good thing. Sometimes it's better not to. There is plenty of times where I don't touch the ball, even if I could. So if you're in a bad position and you know your teammate is behind, so let's say the ball is, let's say they are kind of a little bit too close to the play here, and this guy is booming the ball within high aerial. I know that the moment I'm going for an aerial, what will happen is that I will touch the ball in this. I'll approach the ball like that, and the ball will end up going back. That's a real weird and bad touch for me. It's also putting off my teammate. Will be messed up because he don't predict that's gonna happen. That's my intentions at all, because that's not. So that's why if you are in a bad position like that, if you push too far, just leave it. You have your teammate who's gonna follow it up. So instead, if the ball is going high, just let him just drive back. And also, like, sometimes when you drive into a corner or whatever, these people are shooting the ball to you, and your car is positioning in a bad way. Let's say you are, for some reason you are facing this way. You can like diagonally backflip into the ball right here. You can do that if you're facing this direction and the ball is there. You can flip like that. But what good does that do? Nothing. You're just going to probably give away position. So in this situation, it's much better for you to let the ball roll and you just turn around and then approach the ball from a better angle. So you're going to do this if you have time. Of course, if you're in this position and you see that this guy is also here, then it will be fine for you to like backflip to dribble this guy. But if you have time, just leave the ball, let the ball roll, so that you can adjust your car. And the advantage of this is that it's a fast recovery. It doesn't take you so much time to like turn around. I've seen like people, what they tend to do is that, let's say they are last man, this guy, both are pushing forward, and this ball is like, they kind of, yeah, they shoot the ball and it's going like this, not so fast. What some people do as last man is that they are reversing. They're reversing, and when you're reversing, you just reversing, and then maybe you'll probably get in front of the ball, but it's gonna be a weird thing to do. Uh, Especially if this guy is challenging, also you're gonna get beaten up. The much faster way to do this, if you don't know how to half flip, just drive. Just drive like that. You're gonna get it in time. There's no need to hurry, and you get a better approach than trying to reverse and dribble and stuff like that. So yeah, this is like tutorial for how to approach the ball in different scenarios. I hope you guys liked everything I went through. There is a lot of things that we mentioned here, but I would say mainly dribbling is the best thing you can do. It doesn't matter if you suck at it right now. You can hit training packs, but just try to pull that off. Try to dribble and you'll see more efficient way of playing the game. You'll be a much better teammate and you'll be a stronger opponent for the other team. You'll be more powerful. So dribbling is really, I recommend dribbling at all cost. If you have position, if you don't have position, I recommend single jumping. Just whenever you're driving and you're going to go for a 50 or whatever, single jump. Stop flipping unnecessary, stop double jumping unnecessary, and stop booming unnecessary. Booming the ball is keeping you in a low rank. Have to stop this. This is not good unless it's necessary. Don't boom the ball. So if you look at like RLCS or SSL or Grand Champs, the reason why a lot of these players are 99% trying to go for dribbles or keeping the ball really close to them is because that gives them more opportunities to work with the ball. It gives them more touches to do with the ball, easier to follow up the ball. You don't see like professional players just booming the ball, unless they boom it intentionally to in their team's favor. That's something else, but they don't do it unnecessarily. Thanks for watching and remember to subscribe. I will post some videos here and there trying to teach you guys some stuff. Hope you like this video.